Within the next 5 minutes, I'm going to try to prove to you that Jesus is in fact God. Well, first things first, who do Christians say that he is? We Christians claim something that is quite extreme, that Jesus was not just a moral teacher, not just a prophet, but God himself. Now let's start with the facts. Well, Jesus, he existed. He was a real person. And this is confirmed by ancient non-Christian historians such as Tacitus, Josephus, Pliny the Younger, as well as over 99% of modern historians. Now that we've established that he was a real person, is there any proof that he was actually God? Well, he claims to be God. In John 14:9, he says, "The one who has seen me has seen the Father." In John 10:30, he says, "I and the Father are one." In John 8:58, he says, "Truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was born, I am." This is a reference to Exodus 3:14, when God said, "I am who I am." Now, these are all direct claims to be God. So that leaves us with three options. He was either a liar, a lunatic, or he was Lord. If he was a liar, that means he knew he wasn't God, but said he was. If he was a lunatic, that means he thought he was God, but he wasn't. But if he was Lord, truly God, that means he knew he was God, and he was. Well, it is very easy to prove that Jesus was not a liar. In the movie Paul, Apostle of Christ, Paul says, "Men do not die for things they doubt." If Jesus had any doubt in his mind that he wasn't God, he would have denied being God to avoid things like being tortured or being crucified. But he doesn't. Jesus could not have been a lunatic because we see him using constant moral reasoning. For example, in the Sermon on the Mount, and in his logical parables that he always gave, he uses complex philosophy to explain things to his followers. If he was a lunatic, he wouldn't be able to do any of these things. Besides, nobody would have followed him if they thought he was a lunatic. And there are miracles that are documented happening that a lunatic wouldn't be able to do. But let's say he was God. This makes perfect sense why he was willing to get tortured and die on the cross, because he had no doubt that he was in fact God. This also aligns perfectly with what his followers said, many of which wrote books of the Bible, for example, Matthew, John, and Peter. And also, Jesus fulfilled hundreds of messianic prophecies that were prophesied thousands of years before he was born. Now, the only option that does make sense is that Jesus was God. He was Lord. Now, this last portion of the video isn't really about why Jesus is God. It's more about why you should take this argument seriously and consider believing in the Catholic faith. This Punnett squared looking diagram is called Pascal's wager, and it's a wager that he proposed on why there's no use for not believing in God. So, let's say God is fake, and you do believe in God. When you die, there's nothing. But if you're an atheist, and God is fake, when you die, there is also nothing. But now, let's say that God is real. If you do believe in him, when you die, you receive eternal joy, eternal life in heaven with God, your creator. But if you are an unbeliever and God is real, when you die, it is eternal suffering. The only way you can gain anything is by believing in God.